So it looks like Google has found themselves in a little bit of trouble here in the United States. Now, this is one of the biggest tech cases in the last few decades. As a matter of fact, this is probably at this point the biggest technology case that the Justice Department has actually even been involved in since they filed a case against Microsoft over 20 years ago at this point, right? So I'm 20 years old, okay? And basically, this is the strongest stance in my lifetime against a major tech corporation by the US government, and as a matter of fact, 11 states as well. And I think that this can have a lot of major impacts. This is pretty important. And, well, the truth is, the reason why it's so important is because, well, the case really speaks for itself here, but Google really does play a huge role in all of our lives. I mean, it's basically the default search engine of the internet at this point. So many people use Google. They own YouTube, they own Gmail, and all these other services that we all use. They have so much control over the phone that you use, over your computers. A lot of the technology that we use on a day-to-day basis is either directly owned or at least influenced in a way by Google. I mean, I don't think a lot of people really look at that situation and really contemplate it, but that is something that is important to know. That is something that you should be thinking about, and it is kind of concerning when you really do give it some time. Because it's like, you know, this mega corporation basically has so much power over everything that we're doing, and nobody has taken a stance really until now. Well, on Tuesday, the US Justice Department actually filed a lawsuit against Google, and they claimed that they are abusing their dominance in online search and advertising. And as of right now, that could actually just be the opening move to the entire thing. As you guys probably know, if you've been watching the channel, I've been kind of covering this whole thing as it's really been kind of developing. There's other major tech corporations out there that have also been, I guess, kind of investigated in a way by the Justice Department and the Federal Trade Commission. These include Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Microsoft. In fact, there was actually just a pretty huge hearing recently between the CEOs of all these companies. So it actually looks like there's a lot of steps being taken, I guess, to really look into these companies and the power that they have. But as of right now, Google is the one that's being fired on the hardest. Now, for a long time, there's been accusations that Google has been abusing their dominance in online search and advertising and in other ways as well. Now, the case was filed in federal court in Washington, D.C., and it basically alleges that Google is using billions of dollars that they're collecting from advertisers to pay phone manufacturers to basically make it to where Google is the default search engine on their browsers. And the claim is being made that it's stifling competition in the online realm, and it's blocking innovation from smaller upstarting rivals to Google. And on top of that, it's actually harming consumers by reducing the quality of search and even limiting privacy protections and alternative search options. So to put this, I guess, down, let's make an example out of this, right? So Google owns YouTube, so the ads that you see on this video, right, some of that money's gonna go to me, right? Because obviously it's my video, I'm running ads on my channel, so I'm gonna get paid out of this, but YouTube is also going to make money from that, right? Now, Google has a huge ad network, okay? It's not like they just run ads on YouTube. Obviously, every time you Google something, there's like hella ads all over the page. A lot of websites have built-in Google ads and things like that. So when they collect money and revenue from that, basically it's being said that they're now going to, I don't know, let's say they go to, I don't know, Apple, right? And they say, hey, on the new iPhone 12, which is coming out, let's pay you $3 billion to make Google Chrome the default search engine, which wouldn't happen because Google has Safari, or I mean, Apple has Safari. They would never really just be like, oh yeah, go ahead, Google. But you know, they'll go to an Android, right? And they'll say, hey, make Google Chrome the default browser, right? Which I think actually does happen, so. And then because of that, you know, I don't know, Microsoft can't get their browser put on phones as easily. Apple can't get their browser put on phones as easily. I don't even know if you really can use Safari on an Android. I'm assuming you can because it's a lot less limited than an iPhone. So it's stifling that competition, right? They're basically using the money that they're building up to try and pay their way into the game and block everyone else out. And that does really hurt a lot of people, okay? Not only just the other people trying to make browsers, but also the consumer, because if Google can just build up all this money and they can just pay to have their browser put on the phone by default, right? the vast majority of people probably don't even know that you can actually go and use different browsers, right? You know, like your grandma, she's gonna pick up her phone, you think she's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna go put Mozilla Firefox on my phone, maybe even DuckDuckGo. No, I'm sorry, but that's just not happening, bro. She's gonna be like, how do I use the Google again? So they're kind of paying to win in a way, you know what I'm saying? They're dead ass out here, you know, there's that new DLC update with the new Android phone. They just spent $600 on their mom's credit card to get the new gun and supply drops, bro. Like, it's dead ass what's happening. So, and then of course when that happens, right, Google then has, they honestly can control what you see through their browser. And this has been an accusation thrown at Google for a while now too, is that they're secretly controlling search results to block out things that they don't want people to see. Maybe conspiracy theories. A lot of conservatives have claimed that Google is biased against conservative ideas and policies. And when they have that much power over like who they are seeing on the phone because they're buying their way into phones, they can start to do things like that. Even if they're not doing it, the fact that they have the ability to do it, they have that option, should be scary enough. Like a conglomerate deadass can control what you see and think because they have that much control. And another big problem with Google is the fact that they've constantly been under scrutiny for like the privacy issues, right? Google collects every single thing you do. Your whole search history is saved. They try to find out everything they can about you, your age, your location, your interests, what foods you like, what places you frequent, political views, everything, because then they can use all of that information to then feed into their database. And then they can serve, you know, personalized advertisements to you. So, you know, yeah, you really like McDonald's, guess what? Hey, go get a Big Mac, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of shit that they do. I know I sound like a, you know, crazy Alex Jones conspiracy theorist, but this is real life. Like, this is really what's been going on for probably the better part of 20 years or so now that Google has really been on top. And this isn't really the first time that anyone has actually stood up to Google about these things. Now, this is, of course, the first time that the US government has really tried to step up to them like this. But as a matter of fact, European regulators in recent years actually fined multi-billion-dollar fines onto Google, and they even mandated changes in some of Google's practices because they deemed that what they were doing was wrong. And a lot of people say now that these multi-billion-dollar fines, these mandated changes in how they operate and things like that weren't even enough, and as a matter of fact, a lot of people are calling for Google to be broken up because they believe that it's a monopoly. Now, you can definitely make the argument that Google either is already a monopoly or that they're very easily building to the point that they are becoming one. And monopolies, they simply aren't good. They stifle competition, which, especially in a capitalist society like we live in, is very fundamental. Because usually if one company is in control, it just really means that there's a huge degradation in the product quality. Because they have no competition. Nobody has to strive to be better. Google doesn't have to update as much and add new features to compete with anyone else's browser. Now, 11 states' attorney generals actually stepped up and released a statement on Monday saying that they haven't concluded their investigations into Google, but they would want to consolidate their case with the Department of Justice if they do decide to file. These attorney generals include New York, Colorado, Iowa, Nebraska, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Utah. And this is real, man. This is becoming real very quick. I mean, even the president and his, I guess, administration, they have been very outspoken against Google. One of Trump's top economic advisors 2 years ago said that there was a lot of consideration going on in the White House on whether or not Google searches should be subject to government regulation. Now, obviously, there's a lot of concern in an idea like that the government can regulate the internet searches through a company like Google. Not really sure that that's the solution personally, but the possibility of Google as a company being broken up is becoming more and more likely. I mean, just a few years ago, there was a lot of mumbling about it, but it was never even really close to reality. But if there's one group of people on planet Earth that you do not fuck with, it's the United States federal government. There's 3 things that the US government is gonna get if they want it. Number 1, if they want your data, they're gonna get it. The NSA is gonna make sure they get your shit. Number 2, if they want your tax money, guess what, buddy? They're getting your tax money. You're not getting around those taxes. You're getting 15 to life or something if you start really trying to step up and evade taxes, bro. And number 3, if the US government wants their oil, they're getting that oil, bro. It's just happening, you know? All of a sudden, you know, maybe something happened. Oh my god, a ship got attacked. Time to invade another country, bro. There's 3 things that they're gonna get. And guess what? That's one group of people you just simply don't fuck with. And guess what? Google has now gotten it personal with the US government, dude. But no, it's very serious. I mean, when you look at the dominance of online searches as of September 2020, Google owns 88.14% of the shares, I guess, of the search engine market. The closest competitor to Google is fucking Bing, and it has 6.7%. It's not even close, dude. Like, it's just simply not a race, okay? Google is just dominating what they do. And they do need to be questioned, you know what I'm saying? There needs to be someone looking into this, and honestly, I welcome the idea of Google being looked into by the government for potentially antitrust practices. So with that being said though, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, I mean, inadvertently kind of like making a living off of Google's platform, and signing out.